Welcome to Chapter 1 of BoatingBanter.com's Boat Upholstery series. I'm going to try to take all the way from the beginning tools one might need all the way to a finished product here in probably Chapter 20 by the end of this year. We're in the summertime right now, so I don't want to take the cushions out of my boat. So what we are doing is we're going to start off with the basic stuff and then get a project going this summer, or late summer, early fall. I'm Larry, Captain Larry. Let's go for a ride. Just one other thing. This is for your information only. These are my experiences and my good and bad, and I will try to share all of them with you. If you like it, I hope you pick some things up that will help you in your boating upholstery work. And if you don't like it, please just go to another channel. I really don't need the grief. Thank you very much. Okay, let's start off with marking. Number one thing you need to do is be able to mark your projects, and that is outlining them and cutting them, So what we'll do is first go over what kind of marking tools that will help you. Grease marking pencils, you can get this on Amazon. They're very inexpensive, different colors. They work very good for the non-porous, which is top of vinyl, comes right off a little bit of soap and water, hard plastic, that kind of stuff. As long as it's not porous, very good way to mark. You can mark your squares and angles and what your seam points are and all these kinds of things. So get yourself a good set of marking. The most valuable tool you'll probably have before you start disassembling your project is you're going to use your old, hopefully you're going to have your old cushion or sun deck, whatever it is. You'll have it in half decent condition where you can disassemble it and use it for templates for replacing it. Before you start pulling it apart, I highly recommend you use a Sharpie and mark everything. Mark the colors where they meet, the angles that they meet. Is it a double seam, single seam, a French seam on this product? Is it the plate, top plate, bottom plate? Is it the boxing around the sides? Is it the left boxing or right boxing? I can't tell you, just mark and remark. Trust me, especially when you get interrupted and you don't finish the project for a couple of weeks, you'll forget a lot of these things. So if you mark them, at least you'll know what they look like, and take a picture if you can. So that's what it looked like before I started, and hopefully I get a nice replication of that when I'm finished. So mark the old product. This is a chalk pencil. This is good for like sunbrella canvasy products. It comes off very easy. You can wipe off, or a little bit of water will take it right off. It's good for, again, for canvas, more porous kind of product, where you can mark all your seams and your edges and good for your measuring. Very good product. Also, I got this from sailrite.com. Good company, great videos. This thing I made myself. This is a Scriber I found on Amazon. Very inexpensive. They were selling them. And as it comes, it's like a normal Scriber where it has a sharp pointed one side and a pencil you put in the other side. So you follow your pattern and it makes a mark. Well, really in our work, what we need is two pencil marks. Now, pencil works great, especially on the back side of vinyl, which is where you want to put it. And what I simply did is I disassembled it, took the points off, and made two pencil sides. And this works great. Has a little wing nut for adjusting. I usually do about 1/4 inch seam allowances. And you can adjust accordingly in and out. And what you do is you just, when you take your old vinyl that you're trying to replace, you put that down again on the back side and you just scribe around it. And this will give you, the inside one will give you where the seam is, where the sewing line is going to be, and the second one will give you the edge. And you've got to have clean, accurate edges. When I first started, I was worried I was going to run out of material around a corner or something like that, so I'd have a 1/4 inch, and then it would make it 1/2 inch, and go 3/4 of an inch, and down to 1/3, and my end product was a mess. You really got to have clean, accurate edges. So when you tack them together before sewing, you put edge to edge, and then you know if your edges are clean and true that your seam line is going to be nice and straight and where it should be. So you've got to have good edges, and this is a great way to do it. And if you want to go even a cheaper route, I just took 2 of the grease pencils, taped them together, and it's about 1/4 inch. And again, you can just scribe around this, and you have your seam, sewing line, and you'll have your edge. And just go around and cut that accordingly and sew accordingly. The next piece of equipment, maybe almost the most important one for disassembly and for assembly, is scissors or shears. This is a Fisker shear, which is excellent. I love it. Take care of them. Buy a pair or 2. It makes your work so much easier. I'll show you when I disassemble some of my projects what I do and how I use it. And this makes it go twice as fast as cheap ones that I've purchased that have turned out to be useless. We'll go into staple removal now. Oh, here's one other thing. This is just a seam ripper. Very inexpensive to get it at any fabric store. I got these, I think, again. I bought a couple on Amazon. Good for disassembly, and of course we'll all make mistakes, and you have to pull apart and redo them with that. Your first step in disassembly will be to, after you get it off the boat, of course, is to get the HIDEM, H-I-D-E-M, E-E-M. This is the vinyl product. It goes over the staples to hide them. All that is vinyl is sewed, and it has a slit on it where you staple through it to hide the HIDEM staples. Well, anyway, to take this off, it can be a pain. I saw a gentleman doing a project where he was taking off this HIDEM kind of product. He used these side cut pliers. Excellent idea. And all you have to do is slide it under there, grab a hold of it, and just turn it right on top of itself, and that will pull up all the way around. When you get into a sun deck and stuff, it can be 10 feet of HIDEM up there, so it's a good way to do it, and it comes out quickly, and virtually all the staples comes out, so it saves a lot of work. So definitely buy these, and they're inexpensive at any hardware store. Staple removal. I bought this on Amazon, about $15, $16. They had a lot of good reports on it. What I liked was the handle. It seemed like a very comfortable handle because you kind of go in and twist, and when you do that hundreds of times, it's nice to have a comfortable handle. What I didn't like about this, and why it doesn't really work, is if you notice the tips are very wide and fit almost no staples that I run across, so it becomes totally useless. So that's a useless $15 staple remover. Here's a little $5 or $6 one. Again, I bought a couple of these on Amazon. Has a typical screwdriver head on the thing, handle I mean. But you know the tip or the head of the thing, it has a very small and then kind of a little wider prior there. And they're quite sharp, and they fit in. I have not met a staple that these things haven't been able to handle. Handle's a little rough on you by twisting, so I wear gloves. It makes it a lot easier, but that's a great tool and all you really need. If you're really on a budget, you can use a screwdriver, but this is so cheap, you're really worth the energy. And screwdrivers are a lot harder because their thick heads don't get under the staple like they should. What I do is I pull up usually staple about half to 2/3 of the way out, and then finish off by just pulling it out with a pair of needle nose pliers. That way there, it's easier for me, and the best thing is the staples won't go flying all over the room. And then finally, this is a little office staple. It's just for a regular paper staple remover. What I do is I tack, and I'll show you here in a minute, but I tack with staples. I saw that again on a Sailrite video of one of their original videos. A lady used that, and I love the idea. I don't use clips or pins or anything else. It's so much easier, I think, to do it this way. And then you simply put your 2 patterns together, make sure your lines are nice and straight, then you bring them to the sewing machine, and as you're sewing, you get close to the staple, and then you just pluck it out, and then you just continue on. It really is a good idea. Very inexpensive. Okay, this is the staple I use to do my tacking with. Excellent. I like the handle part. It's very easy on the hand. You just use regular staples. It's very inexpensive. Again, I found this on Amazon for, I don't know, $5 or $10, whatever it was. And then all I do after I cut out all my different patterns from my new vinyl, I pull them together where they belong, and then line up the seams, and I just tack around it with this thing here, and then I take it to the sewing machine. And like I say, you pull those staples out as you come up to them with your needle. But it's a great way to do it. Quick, it's easy, and it really keeps you from making a lot of mistakes. Another tacking stapler, and I've seen people actually use this for the finished product. God bless them. I mean, that's a lot of work. There's a lot of staples in most of these projects, and going around by hand and stapling your whole thing. You need to really use stainless staples so they don't rust and stain your product. You can get them from Sailrite in a bunch of places. I use the 1/2-inch staples, stainless staples. I just simply use regular staples in this, and I tack my project. So I take, when I finish sewing it all, I lay it on the foam, and just to see how it sits. And then when I feel comfortable, I tack it in a few spots, like the front, the back, and the side, and make sure the corners and the seams are all right. And that way it holds it there with that. And then again, I go around and I take the staples out with this while I'm using this to do the final stapling. This is a Sailrite product called Easy Stapler. Again, I use 1/2-inch stainless on this. This is the best thing I have ever bought. I run it on a little pancake compressor at about 70 pounds, depending on what material I'm trying to tack into. Load simply. You just flip the thing open and drop your clip of staples, and boom, you're ready to go. Pop, 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 the thing goes, and it does a wonderful job of doing that. So I can't recommend that highly enough. But if you really give it a lot of energy, God bless you. Lastly, let's get into basic tools of measuring. You'll do a lot of measuring. So this is typical Tailors Measure. You should get one of these. You can get them in any fabric store. Great for getting around the edges, around the corners, and if you get loop-de-loop kind of patterns in there, helps you measure that, especially when you need to order your vinyl. You get a good measurement with that product. This is a little triangle or 3-sided deal. I use this for short measures and short running of lines. I like it because I can hold it and keep it from moving. I got these two at the Walmart. Some of my favorites. I don't use this much because it's so big and unwieldy, but what I like about it is you can see through it, and of course it has your measurements on the sides, and also has squares. So you can put this right on your seam line or right on the edge of the fabric, and you make sure you have a perfectly square line that you mark down there, and it's exactly 1.25 inches, for example, from the edge every time, and you're not moving it around because you can always check because you can see through it. Very good. Again, Walmart, they were a little expensive, but I think well worth it. In the last two, just an old-fashioned square, Stanley square, metal square. You've got to have clean lines, and the lines got to be straight for your sewing. Otherwise, your life is going to be miserable. This is a good way to do it. You get vinyl in, you get canvas in. It's not square, and this way here it makes it square. So you can draw, you can put it down there on the edge. You make sure you got a nice, clean, straight line. And that will make your finished product so much nicer. And it's great, of course, for making right angles. Finally, this is for my long runs. I mark the vinyl with this, whatever depth or wherever I'm going, and then here you put this on the dots that you make all the way around, and just draw your line with whatever pencil you're using. And this is great, of course, to really smooth out. You do a lot of long runs, especially for sun decks and long benches and all that. Well, anyway, that's the initial chapter 1 over the very basic tools. We'll go over some more advanced tools next time. I'll try to get these all done and all of our tool work, and then we're going to go into sewing machines and fabric and thread and how to take care of these things, all of these next chapters. So please stay tuned. I promise I will get you to a good point. You have a great day. Thank you.